Today is Wednesday, September 26th, 2018. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor David versus Goliath, Episode 1.
Appearances are deceiving is our episode title to kick off Season 37. As Probe says, the greatest social experiment on TV. I agree wholeheartedly. Okay, so we get our intro. What do you think of the intro? The boat's coming in, the boat's to the boat.
Yeah. Not much. It was just watching the boats come in.
Well, it was more about the setup.
Yeah, and they did show some clips of people.
The theme, establishing the theme. The Davids overcoming obstacles.
Yes.
And it gives us, let's see, who got our first confessional? Christian, right? Where he tells us, surprise, surprise, he's a nerd. Never would have guessed. And Elizabeth, she's a homeschooled hay bale thrower. So, it was our introduction to her. Okay. And then the Goliaths are all about winning. Natalie tells us she's a CEO, and Angelina tells us that she is indeed amazing.
I didn't quite hear all those exactly that way, but okay.
Yeah, you got a variation you want to share?
No. Mm-mm.
Yep.
Everyone just go with their own interpretation.
Pat tells us things aren't always the way they seem. Appearances are deceiving. Sometimes it's that little coral snake that'll kill you. He didn't quite say that either, but that's what I inferred from his story.
Okay. I think you inferred quite a bit of things.
The Goliaths are on the boat first, all done for a reason, all to set the stage. Stomp, 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 we're all big and strong.
Oh, yeah. Angelina is happy. Big smile. Mm-hmm. She's, their team is stacked.
Yeah, you thought she had a little bit of a wicked smile there, huh?
Yeah. Especially, looking at them.
Maybe a little like, mean one, yeah.
And she was like, oh my, so I'm going to take advantage of this. So she underestimated them immediately as they came over the top of the boat there.
Yep.
Now, Jeff tells us that the underdogs versus the favorites and explains the David and Goliath theme again.
Yep. Well, it's again for us, for people who are just watching it. We already saw this video because it got released this week.
Survivor is the unknown.
Yeah, he went a little Rumsfeld. He's doing the unknown unknowns on us, wasn't he? Oh, okay.
And you have to figure out what the advantage is every day.
Yep, that's true. I like setting it up that way. I mean, they don't know what's coming with the idle nullifier and all that. But
did you think that Nick was a little bit over the top with his I was born in a trailer in the holler?
Yeah, he practiced that, don't you think? I think he practiced it. There's a couple. There's definitely some over the tops. Yeah, that come out early in these tribes.
Well, and I don't doubt that was all true. Mm-hmm. But
he's been selling that story for a while.
Yeah, you play it up. Come on, we've all done it.
Yeah.
Especially if someone's expecting something, you'll throw in a little extra twang there.
Yep. Gabby tells us, and Gabby is the narrator so far. That's what I would say. She's definitely the go-to for how things are playing out here. She tells us the Davids have a lot more to prove, climbing from the bottom to the top, and they got a better story. So, nah.
Well, and I thought she said it diplomatically, unlike some of the others that were making comments.
Except for the part where she said, yeah, we got a better story. She got her little in there,
I know,
too.
But I've kind of liked her.
Uh-huh.
I'm almost wishing I had chosen her.
I bet you are.
Especially over who I chose.
We'll get there.
Okay. All right, so...
John owned being a professional wrestler right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Surprised me, though. I mean, I'm not surprised he went to college, but he went to college right near us.
Yeah,
He said he went to UC Davis, so he got his Rocks for Jocks degree in geology.
Well, and Nick points out, so he knows the Bible, that David became king.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Alison, Jeff wants to compare Alison and Pat's stories.
Wow, he wanted to bust Allison's chops a little on this one,
he did.
right?
I thought so too.
Yeah.
And
She was actually trying to have a bonding moment, and Probst wasn't having any of
well,
it.
I kind of thought he shut her down. Like, no, this is the way it's going down, so don't even, we're going to show this difference.
Thought you worked hard, but you had your family carrying you on their shoulders. Pat here didn't have the benefit of that.
Yeah,
Let's hear you tell your story, Pat.
Yeah, tell your story against Pat's, and then let's see.
Then we'll weigh them out and
Like,
see who wins.
Okay, I was middle to upper middle class. Your father was a doctor. You were definitely upper middle class.
And she's a doctor, yes.
And she's a doctor. So once you said that,
Big Daddy Pat's paycheck to paycheck story with the
disabled mom, and
Yep.
it's like, yeah.
And Pat didn't miss his opportunity. College, there was no consideration of college. I had to go to work.
That was not an option. It was
Yeah.
to work. I was lucky I finished high school. So you notice that Alison was very intelligent. She didn't say another word.
Yep. She
like,
picked up on that one pretty
alrighty
quick.
then.
She got her cue. Yeah.
Got it, Jeff.
I
Got
won't
it.
walk through another door like that. I'll let you go. Run with it. Tell
Yep,
us about how
yep.
Goliaths have advantages that are visible and the Davids' advantages are invisible.
Don't bring up any other stories.
Yeah.
And Jeff says you have to find out who's the best at turning situations to your advantage. And that's what the entire season's really about.
Well, that's what the show's about. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's the big social experiment. But Probst has got an experiment plan that Kierhofer put together for him. So here we go. Goliaths, you pick out the weakest man and weakest woman. What did you think of the choices there?
Wasn't surprised at all.
You didn't think they would go for Gabby instead of Lyrsa?
No, I thought they'd go for Lyrsa.
Okay.
She's so tiny and,
Well, that was her description of herself, tiny and chunky.
Yeah.
And Christian said, well, it seemed like a logical choice. So he played right into that part.
Yeah, and then they chose their strongest. I don't know that I thought they were going to choose Alison for that, but obviously she stepped into that role right off the bat. And of course, John was no surprise.
And she was thinking, well, maybe there's a little redemption here for me, right? If I can pull this off, then getting thumped by Probst there right out of the gate, I can reverse that perception a little.
And the twist was that the Davids got to choose which path each of the tribe members
two
would
teams,
go.
yeah.
The two tribe members that were playing, what path they would get to take and what they would have to do. And they chose really well.
Yeah, and it turned out that one part in particular, so for the Goliaths, they chose them to have to do the planks and crawl through the net and then do a three-dimensional 15-piece block puzzle, which was going to take some time for sure. And for themselves, they took the beam over the water, the crawl under the net, and then an 8-piece slide puzzle.
Which we find out he's a genius at.
Boy, I thought they had chosen wrong right out of the gate, Lyrsa and Christian, with the beam over the water.
They did good.
But they looked like they were going to fall over, was what I was wanting to highlight there. But yes, they did really good.
No, I thought they did really good with it myself.
It seemed pretty precarious.
Well, I expected it to be much worse.
But the Goliaths made up a lot of time getting through the net. They pretty much caught back up. I counted it out. It looked like it took Christian, once he got there, because Lyrsa was already working the puzzle a little before Christian ran up to it. It looked like it took him just under 10 seconds to solve that puzzle.
Oh, I thought Jeff said 5 seconds.
Yeah, he did, but he's wrong, according to what they show on the video.
I see.
Yep. It must have felt like it because it was so quick.
And then he let Lyrsa crawl out there and do the kit.
I don't know that he let her do anything. Lyrsa took
okay.
off and
just
she took care of it. Yeah.
Well, I think she wanted to prove herself a little bit, too. So
She did great.
I think they were trying to prove something.
Yeah.
And
Well, it was a setup. Let's be honest.
Exactly. It was set up for that.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
It was designed for the underdogs to be able to win, at least to stack the deck in their favor from the perspective of that challenge.
And there was a blowout, but, I'm sure the Goliaths thought they would have the blowout. But they proved that
Not once they saw what they
not
were
the
up
case.
against.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not that the others did badly at all.
Nope.
It's just...
It's going to take a lot more time with that other puzzle.
Absolutely. And though once Christian started talking about writing the algorithms for the slide puzzle, all I heard was yak, 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 yak. I was
Yeah,
like,
the editors have a little fun with him
okay.
just after this, too. Yeah.
Well, and they were right, because I enjoyed it.
So I was surprised when Probst threw the maps out for the tribes that both Christian and Mike proved themselves adept at catching. They both caught the maps before they hit the deck. So good on them for that. Yeah, and then they cut to Christian. He starts off, so he gets another confessional, and he's talking about the sliding puzzle, and then the editors are just having a ball with him. Because, like you said, he was yakking and yakking.
And on
Yeah.
and on.
So they're like
and
doing
on
fade
and
cuts over and over the top of himself as he continued to talk.
Well, you know, it was probably 50 times that long. So they were just making a point.
Yep. Okay, so the Goliaths land, and right out of the gate, Mike gets recognized.
Yeah, immediately.
Dan can't quite place him, but was it?
Who was that?
It was
ran
Natalia, I think.
Yeah, I think it was
that nailed him.
Natalia.
Yeah. Yep.
And what'd you think of his fedora?
Horrible choice. Yeah.
Well, it made him stand out, but I'm not sure it was in a good way. But I don't know. He's kind of quirky, so it fits
I think
him.
given where you
I like
are,
him.
you just go for it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved his speech and his confessional there. He said, "My peers who are directors and writers here in Hollywood, they all dream about the Oscar. Me, I want to win Survivor. Those other guys are just schmucks chasing the wrong
I'm an
thing."
obsessive, fanatic Survivor fan.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, well, I love that, too.
Yeah, I think you'd have a blast playing with him. You wouldn't necessarily want to count on him, but being able to be out there with him and share that experience,
No,
that
but
must
I
have been
liked his
special.
surprise, like, wow, I'm with all the pretty people. How did I get
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
And so, what am I doing here with all
He's
these
got a little
pretty
bit of the imposter syndrome that he's probably been wrestling with all his life, kicking off right out of the gate
Well,
as soon as
then-
they hit the beach.
Yeah, they made it sound like Dan just went on and on and on with his story,
Super Dan
like immediately. So-
loves to do the me, huh? Yeah. What?
Okay.
No, you're crying because you chose him for your USB.
USB, because I thought
Oh,
it would
this
be
is
fun.
not the worst thing that we get from Super Dan.
Oh. Well, at least Natalie thought he was fine.
Mm-hmm. That was a good line when she spoke up. You fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have an appreciation for you.
That was I love that.
I thought,
That's
all right,
good.
girl.
And then here you go. Here's his big dummy moment.
Oh.
Turns out Super Dan's here looking for a showmance.
Oh, Dan.
Cara, you're my kryptonite.
And
I like them blonde and beautiful.
I named my dog Cara. I swear. My dog's name is Cara. I love
Oh.
it. You're my kryptonite. I love blondes. You're beautiful.
Cara goes with it. She said that he's drawn to me and I'm drawn to him.
Well, you know, that's quite
A
the compliment.
showmance. Oh, if you pick Dan to win, you got to be kicking yourself just a little bit at that moment in the episode.
Well, that would be a large part of the paper right now groaning.
Oh,
Like, oh,
Super
man.
Dan.
I don't mean to imply that
Super
he's
Dan.
out, but that is not what I wanted to see out of my USB, because I debated and I thought the women were going to do well, and I even had changed my mind about Alison that
We'll
I
come
thought
back
she
to
was
that.
going to. No, I'm saying this right now. And I just thought, you know, this is stressful, and I think it would be more fun to cheer for Dan.
For Super
So
Dan.
I just did it. And then he comes right out of the gate with me going,
Showmance.
oh.
Knucklehead. All right.
Well, he still seems like a heck of a guy and sweet.
Uh-huh.
But I just thought, oh, these girls are going to walk over you.
Yeah, he's pretty much got no chance.
Well, I'm not saying that yet.
I am.
Well, of course you
Super
are.
Dan, you're out,
You are,
buddy.
of course, because
You
it's
show
my
up.
USB.
You show up, and within minutes of the
How
game
did you
starting,
go with?
within minutes of the game starting, you're talking about a showmance? Whoa, you were just
Well, my thought was, he's been sitting on that for a week back at Ponderosa looking at her, just falling all over himself waiting to get to say something to her, to actually get to speak to her, and it was just rolling out because he'd been waited so long. I bet they've been making goo-goo eyes for a week.
Yeah. How long do you think he worked on his kryptonite moment?
I don't know.
Because he's Super Dan, don't you know?
I just can't.
I think he's probably used that line in describing himself.
Taunting me.
Super Dan. I'm Super Dan. You're my kryptonite.
But they're going to keep this attraction hidden. Nobody's going to know.
No, nobody will notice that.
Yeah, they won't notice that at all.
That's on the down low.
Now, you didn't tell me who your USB was. Did you stay with John?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, did not disappoint.
Okay.
All right, let's cut over to the David's tribe. Big Daddy Pat's in charge. I'm going to build a shelter. All these nice tools. We'll get to see Scrappy Gabby out there narrating some more with more confessional time.
I really couldn't believe how he was talking, though. I thought, man, you're going to go home first if you keep this up.
Yeah, I thought you were supposed to know a little bit.
It's like, don't just be, barking orders, not just saying, oh, so-and-so, could you bring me? It's like, get this, go get it, go do that.
No, it's this way. Christian, bamboo. Noun, person, noun, retrieve, fetch.
Even Christians, I don't believe I've ever been, spoken to that way or, yelled at like that. And, but, the thing is once that rain started, it was like people started to change their mind about Pat and the shelter.
Not really.
I thought they did.
Afterwards,
when he
the
was
first night,
getting finished. Yeah.
No, at this point in the episode, though, Davie says, "Who is this guy?" And Christian tells us, "Pat is a bit bossy.
He's a self-made man, and this is what he does."
Pat's trying some jokes, but he's a little risque.
They're just like bombing.
Yeah, Christian tells us that jokes are risky, and if he wasn't good at putting the shelter together, he would be out already.
It's like, get off the stage before the beer bottles show up.
Back over at the Goliath tribe, Alec is all about seeing the bright side. Natalie, she's about being bossy. Hello. Oh, she's talking that way to people right out of the gate.
I'm 57
Hello.
And these kids are 25.
I recommend.
I have young people working for me.
I need you to slow down. Ladies, hello. Oh, my goodness.
I can't believe somebody didn't say, girl, you better back up out of my face.
No. You let people dig that hole. You let them wrap the rope around their own neck.
Survivor, but...
Yeah. And boy, she was working hard at that right out of the gate.
Well, she was working her mouth hard, but I didn't see her do anything else.
That's all I'm talking about. She wasn't painting herself in a good light.
Well, truthfully, I expected her to kind of be that way and not, be the first one out on their tribe. But even I didn't think she was going to be that out there.
Abrasive, yeah.
Yes.
Clueless.
Never thought she'd be that abrasive. And I thought, have you watched the show? Was
she didn't
recruited?
need to. She's obviously. she didn't need to watch the show.
I thought.
She's got a lifetime of experience at being a winner.
It's like we
she's
got
a
to have
CEO.
Somebody to go out right away.
She's throwaway casting.
Oy,
and I bet she's a wonderful, smart lady.
I'm sure she is.
And we can see all the accomplishments she's listed in her bio. But her competency at the game of Survivor is
but what did I
deeply
say
in question.
Yesterday?
I don't know.
She is used to everyone doing exactly what she says.
Oh, you repeated what I said in the Jabbek. That's why I didn't remember it.
No, we were talking yesterday, and I said that.
Okay. Yep, back over at the David tribe, Pat's going to climb out on a limb. I thought, with a hatchet. I thought, is he going to do a Wile E. Coyote? Is he going to cut the limb? Or a Daffy Duck? He's going to cut the limb he's on? Or what is it? This is precarious. This
I
is
thought
nuts.
it was going to fall on
Everyone's
person
worried.
Blow's head.
Yeah, well, the way he's swinging the hatchet, too, it's like he didn't have good control because he wasn't stable up there.
Jessica and B were connecting, and then B and Carl started connecting and all these alliances started being made.
Yeah, I want to wind back to Jessica and B, though. Jessica asked B, how did you learn how to weave the palm fronds? And B said, on YouTube. I like that. That was perfect.
Absolutely.
So Jessica tells us that she's nervous, but she's telling all them that she's 22.
Yep. Yeah, seems to be working
Not
so
saying
far,
that she's 18. Yeah.
Carl kind of connects with Davie, and
Yep.
then
And they
they're
bonded
right.
over the fact that they're annoyed at Pat.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And Lyrsa and Elizabeth. I thought immediately, well, yeah, okay, those are good vote-off choices. If they bond together, they might be isolated together, too. But
But that
they
was
weren't.
smart of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're so different. No one's going to suspect it. All that
Yeah,
was really
yeah.
good.
Good
We're
move, good move.
So acknowledging how different they are.
And we'll tell each other if our names come up.
Gabby and Christian, they peeled off too. Got to have a moment there to work on their nerd power alliance.
Well, and actually those two had said in their bios and stuff that they were both very loyal and honest. So I actually thought that could be a strong pairing
Mm-hmm.
with
The loyalty
Elizabeth and,
being reflected.
Yeah, yes.
You got to have more than two, though.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then I had thought in the beginning I kept putting Christian and Gabby together, but then later on I thought, what are you doing that? Just because they're both, dubbed as the nerdy people or something, and then they hit it off.
Yep. Gabby tells us that they are kindred spirits, and she is indeed a nerd whisperer. Therefore, they've got something
and
going.
Christian just loves her.
Yep.
In a platonic way, of course.
Yeah, and then he questioned himself on that, the way that phrase ended, that sentence ended.
Yes, but...
Yep, he tells us he's going to have to hide how well that they get along.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then we're back over to Goliath. John and Mike are talking, and John's talking about, how, well, sometimes I play a bad guy and sometimes play a good guy.
Yep.
So, and I thought, well, he's talking to the other actor, so they can relate to that.
Yeah, they got that in common.
I thought, that's not something you would usually do, but I could understand it since he was talking to Mike.
Yep, and then we get a confessional where he talks about all his names. Yeah.
Because a more paranoid person would have said, oh, he's a good actor. He's pretending.
Angelina calls out Natalie pretty quick, busting her for not doing any work, just standing around and staring.
And issuing orders.
And Mike makes his first big self-professed rookie mistake. He runs off idol hunting, thinking no one's going to notice that he's not there. He
I
goofball.
always think that.
Yeah.
And who warns him? Natalie.
Natalie comes to tell him, yeah.
I thought, what are you thinking, girl? Don't you realize that you're right up there for one of the first vote outs and that Mike's the other one? Why would you warn him?
She's got no game awareness.
Because likely if he doesn't go home, you are.
Although stirring up discord amongst other castaways can be a good diversion tactic, take the heat off you. So maybe she was thinking that a little bit.
Well, and they were all, that's a good way, too, to go, oh, he's being different. So puts a target on him, but then later on they all end up searching for the dang thing anyway.
Alison, she's quick to point out, well, at least with both of them, we've got two options right out of the gate where we need to vote someone out. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, too. It wasn't like they weren't already targets. Come on, let's be real. They're the older ones. They were going to be the targets.
Mike tells us he realizes he made a rookie mistake, so
but
pushed himself on his own petard there right out of the gate.
Yep.
But he couldn't help it. I want it. That was good, too. I like that.
I want it. I think I need it. I better find
It's
this
like
idol.
top 5 Survivor experiences. Come on, I gotta.
Yep.
Can't help myself.
Okay, back over to the David camp.
Yep.
I had that right. to start
David
with.
Tribe, yep.
Yeah,
Day 2.
It's a good thing there was nobody on the season named David. That would have been terrible. Okay, pouring rain.
Elizabeth's
Supposedly a
working smart.
cyclone.
She's drinking water right off the rocks, the runoff there. Getting her some rainwater.
And they talk about how they care about each other way more than the Goliath tribe does. How do you know that?
Yeah,
It's true according to what we've seen.
It's good. It's good to, even if you don't believe that, if you can find some reason to unify yourself, that kind of thing is very powerful.
I just wasn't sure why Elizabeth thought that, but...
Well, she knows how much struggle has defined her, right? That's what she shares with us in a confessional, so...
And Nick tells us now he doesn't want to waste any energy working on the shelter or any of that kind of stuff. But it's just too easy to get people to trust you on Survivor, and they're not going to notice he's not really working. He's pretending to work. And I thought, oh my goodness, you are not self-aware, are you?
He was really oversharing because his responses came to what Jessica was saying, that she liked some of the people over on the Goliath tribe, and she was worried they were having a hard time because they didn't have the shelter building material, so they probably weren't doing as well as they were, and that night was really hard. But Nick says, no, I hope they're going through heck over there. I hope they had a horrible time, and I'm avoiding work as much as possible.
Yep, and he's aligning with Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm. So Christian first, then Elizabeth. Yep. At which point he tells Elizabeth, we need to name our alliance. Now, Nick's doing what I thought Christian was going to do, which is get wrapped around his own axle. Because trying to get too fancy with what you're doing, like naming every single alliance and setting up all these alliances. What's that?
He thinks he's playing Big Brother or something. They name all their alliances, and he's wanting to name all his alliances.
Well, they've named alliances on Survivor, too. But
yeah, I know, but
he's
just...
Yeah, anyway, he's getting too fancy for his own good.
He can keep up with all the different lies because he can give them names.
I have to call him Special Agent Nick here before too long.
Yep. Not that I don't like him. He seems nice enough. It's just that's putting a target on your back. Not working, not helping.
They're painting a pretty clear picture. The editors are telling us that Nick is shady, and they're using Nick's actions to tell the story, but the story is pretty clear to me. Nick is a shady character. Like Carl and Pat say, he's lazy, he's not doing work, and he's trying to be all super strategic, and these multiple alliances, he's like working too fast, talking to everybody. Is going to get away from him.
Yep, I liked it that Gabby was thanking Pat for his hard work on the shelter and what a good job he did, and that Carl's just right up front. I think that was on his pet peeves, that he hated lazy people. So Nick was already on his list.
Yep, Nick ain't working. Carl tells us he's lazy, and Carl and Pat agree that Nick is first.
Well, and that's a working tribe. Everybody else on that tribe, there's no non-workers except for Nick.
It's a horrible strategic choice for Nick. Yeah.
He really stands out because of that.
He did not adapt. He pushed against the flow. He thought he was doing less, but he was really doing more.
And besides, he's a public defender. Wouldn't you think that they would suspect him as being a little bit more suspicious anyway, because he has a law degree, which, yes, he's a public defender, but still, he has a law degree.
And by their very nature, we can't trust lawyers.
That's right.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what most people think when they're on Survivor and a lawyer shows up.
Okay.
That is true.
Yeah, okay.
So that my
the stereotype
was,
you're saying.
Yeah, that already had a strike against you, and then you won't work either.
Right.
Okay.
And then you're doing these alliance blitzes, and you're not working. So, okay, over at the Goliath tribe, Alec's out trying to spear something. And this is important for contrast.
Oh, was that when he gets the...
No, I said Alec on the Goliath tribe.
Oh.
That's why I said it's important for contrast.
Okay. Angelina and Alison, which now that I think is going to be an awesome alliance.
Could be, yep.
Because those women seem ready to play.
Yep, they tell us that women do not find enough idols on this show. Angelina
double team it.
Has done a little research and said that she found out that the stats say that only 15% of women find the idols, and even though there's an equal amount of men and women playing Survivor.
And even though Mike knows he's put a target on his back, etc., he's still going to look for it, and He said, "Boy, everybody else is too." So he keeps looking.
Yeah, Jeremy, he's like, they're all out looking. I'm going to go look, Alec.
I'm not going to stay here and do all the work.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. If everyone else going to look,
Alec
y'all
didn't
just go
seem to
look.
know what to do at first, but Jeremy, he was out. He's like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm looking. John's hunting. It's a race, John tells us.
Were you surprised that Dan told us he had the idol before they showed us?
Yeah, I like that nice little twist.
Yeah, because that's not how they usually do it.
Yeah. Everybody's out looking, but I got it here in my pants. Another one of those. Okay.
Okay, what I was surprised about was that it looked like the girls were ahead of him. He could have snapped it up, stuck it in his pants, and just moved on and not told anybody, but no.
Well, that seemed to be attached to the rock. It was a little, there was a little bit involved with getting it loose from there, but the way it was.
Too much to hide.
It seemed like that might be the case, but again, you're talking showman's Dan. So
I don't think he even considered hiding it, though.
In planning ahead or being deceptive like that, it's probably not on the list of things that ran through his mind.
Yeah, and he's buying into the theme. That was a Goliath moment for me.
Yes, here with the most beautiful girls in the world, he tells us. Oh, damn.
Yeah, well, at least.
So while they show us Alec coming up empty on the spear, Davie has speared an octopus. He tells us he is Davie Crockett of the Wild Frontier.
And he brings up the whole blurred. What was he? Blurred? Black
I'm going to go with
nerd?
blurred, yeah, but I don't know what it
Blurred.
exactly, yeah.
Well, he said that's
I thought at
his
first it was
term for
blurb.
black nerd.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, but it totally works, so
I was like,
yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, well, new word.
Yes.
Well, he said it in some of his bio stuff too, so obviously it's a thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
So to tell
I actually
everyone
like Davie
he's
a little
nerd.
more.
Yeah.
He brought food in, and then he's telling us that he's a nerd, so I ended up liking him more than I had in the preseason.
Yeah, because I have him no merge, but now that the situation, he may make it. Okay.
So we got a bonding moment here at the David tribe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's later in the evening, and Jessica gets a little overwhelmed by the emotion and talks about how she was feeling pitiful and how she had to help her mom go through a really bad
Relationship.
Yeah.
Abusive relationship.
So I'm not saying this part was meant to be, but it seemed like they come in order like they're supposed to be, It's like, yeah. I loved how B framed it, because what B went through is worse than what Jessica went through.
Oh, yeah.
Jessica was there with her mom. B was actually being physically abused,
and hospitalized
hit,
and
yeah.
repeatedly because she went back into it.
The way B helped Jessica and shared some of her own story, which was cool to hear in her confessional too, that she shares with other women and helps with self-defense seminars that she offers for women and all that. So that was really good. She shared something that was even worse than what Jessica had gone through, but she was giving Jessica kudos for being there for her mom at the same time.
Yeah, and you saved your mom's life.
Yeah. When Nick had his breakdown moment, he tells us he didn't feel comfortable in the beginning, but later on in the evening, he let his guard down, and then he comes back to share his story, which certainly a tough experience and sad thing that he had to go through too. But when he was, I don't know if
you were suspect
the previous
to
moments,
his motive.
Yeah, something about how he framed it and delivered it, and maybe it was just all shaded by his previous actions, and I wasn't willing to give him as much benefit of the doubt.
Or editing, I'm sure that took a lot longer and they only showed us little clips. So that could have affected the sincerity as well.
Yeah, it just didn't ring as sincere the way he delivered it.
So you thought he might have just been feeling like everybody shared, I need to share too.
Yeah, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity to...
Though it seemed to do him some good.
Well, it did.
To get it out.
And there was truth in what he was sharing.
Absolutely.
But it was something about the way, at least what they gave us, that he delivered it that made me feel it was a little off. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's probably my own
he did say it helped him bond with the
perspective.
tribe, but you kind of were wondering if that wasn't the
Like he wasn't
pre-thought
thinking
out.
about that at the
Yeah.
same time, right? Like he let all that percolate a little bit and then thought, you know what, it's going to be better for me if I do this in the context of the game.
Yeah, it was still in his head, not a gut reaction. Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You were feeling.
Yeah, there was a manipulative side to it too, even though there was a truthful element of him sharing, and I'm sure he was feeling pain going through it also, but he didn't miss the opportunity to use it for his advantage. I don't know.
You know,
That's giving him more credit for self-awareness in the context of the game than I was willing to do earlier.
I don't think I heard anybody complain about being cold, and you know they had to be.
Well, Jessica was shivering and she was covered up. And,
I know, but they
yeah.
weren't complaining about it, which usually
Well,
people
there.
are like,
Yeah.
oh, and I'm freezing, and
Yeah.
somebody, come over here and cuddle around me, and I'm cold, and nobody was saying anything. They were just doing it.
Well, they were doing probably the best they could there too with that
Well,
shelter, and
yeah.
and they were all kind of tucked into each other because you could see how there was group comfort during some of those harder sharing moments. Okay, so Lyrsa says the storm created bonds. Nick tells us that it formed bonds. There were bonds made there in the David tribe. So there's a closeness through the struggle like Elizabeth talked about back on day 1.
All right. Day 3, immunity challenge.
Community challenge.
And the reward is fire.
Yeah, which I guess you get to have your reward a little longer than the other tribe, but the other tribe
not
gets the
very
same
long.
thing
Yeah.
after they go to tribal council.
Yeah,
so.
but it's usually dark, and they come
not
back
much
and
of
they
a
can't
reward.
make fire that night
Yeah.
because, it's too dark and blah,
Yeah.
blah. And so, yeah, it's a slight
That's a good
advantage,
point.
but they both do get fire that day.
Yeah, they do get a flint, a magnesium fire starter.
Yeah. So, but
So
still
tough
rain.
conditions for the challenge. Yeah, what'd you think of the challenge?
That was a good challenge.
Yeah, I
it
liked
looked
it.
tough.
I liked it. Yeah, and I liked the twist and all that. So in the first stage, one member from each tribe's got to run out, and there's a huge log, a pole there in the sand, and they've got to dig under it and crawl through. The first person who's able to do that is able to get to a machete, and they're able to do a quick drop over the rope ladder to move on to the next stage. The second person has to untie a series of knots to do that.
Well, and I don't know how long Carl was stuck. And we've known people in that particular challenge who've gotten stuck and never got out. They had to dig them out.
That's true.
We have seen that happen on Survivor.
It was later stages in the game, too.
Yeah, but, obviously he was spent. He looked like he couldn't hardly move
Yeah.
when he finally got out of there. And
yet
they
he had
hadn't
to
been
climb
without
a rope
food that
ladder
long.
and then I like the pole vault. That was a neat little deal between
Yeah, it
the
was.
two platforms.
Though you were wondering if Natalie would have trouble doing that, but they didn't show her crossing.
Yeah, or I didn't see it.
Well,
so,
I didn't see it if maybe we were taking notes. but
Yeah.
We'll watch it again.
Sure.
But where we're not taking notes, but I didn't see her crossover. We thought she might have some problem with that.
So the Goliaths did really well. They blew through here. They were off of the pole vault challenge by the time the Davids they didn't even have their whole tribe up there to start. And they were
yet,
already through it.
They were neck and neck at the end.
Yeah, so I like the giant number puzzle. So where you need the physical strength and you need someone thinking about it. Although, there's definitely, you had to be thinking to get the order right and to get things to slide.
That's why they had somebody directing, which
Yeah.
in this case was for Goliath, it was Alison, and for David, it was Christian.
Yeah.
I expected it to be Christian, but it's like Alison really does seem to be stepping up.
She had a voice
in a
that
leader
carried
role.
through the storm,
She
didn't
did.
she? Except there were other people yelling, like Super Dan. He decided he wanted to yell at John to move a piece there. Yeah.
Well, and this is going backwards, but back at the beginning, John took down Davie and Pat.
Yeah.
And I think it's because
I liked your idea there. Your analysis. He wanted to give Natalie some more
well,
time.
let me tell them.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I told you, but it's your. But that's when Natalie fell. That's what I thought John was delaying the other tribe. And that's why he was tackling them. And now I think they had knocked him down too. It gone back and forth. But, I think he really was. That was his goal, was to level the playing field, to give her some time to get on through.
Except
into
somehow
the
when he
match.
came up against Gabby, she was able to knock him out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't know how she did that.
She just wasn't
he-
intimidated and
he-
just kept going.
Yeah, I think he pulled it a little so he didn't because if he would have hit her with both feet like that, the way he was about to go through that obstacle, it would have really wrecked her bad.
She had the bigger chutzpah.
Yeah, I guess so. Good on you, Gabby.
It's like, you're not going to hurt a little girl. She's small compared to him. But
Yeah, and like you
Okay.
said, by the time Carl got to the puzzle, he was just wasted. He fell coming down that net, coming off the platforms, the pole vault platforms.
well, those nets aren't easy to.
Navigate, yeah. Several people fell.
But yeah, he really did seem to just be that wiped. That's why I was a little bit concerned that, if they go to tribal, I don't know if they keep him or if there's something going on, or is he weak? Because, he is a truck driver. Doesn't mean he ever works out. So, and he is one of the older men on their tribe.
Yep, definitely.
Not that he's old, but older.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was noticeable. But I still overall really enjoyed the challenge.
Mike gives a whoop when it sounded like, I can't remember, I was going to look that up, I forgot. What's the name of the yell? That movie Yell? We've had them, I think Paul picked up on it, or someone picked up on them using it in Survivor before. There's this famous yell that editors will put, the audio editors will put in, scream. Is it something to scream? Anyway, Mike sounded a little bit like that scream. I wondered if he was trying to imitate it at all. It's a thing that they do in Hollywood. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Clue.
You don't remember? Okay. There's a scream, and it gets inserted in tons of movies.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, Mike's little whoop, his wind whoop, made me
okay.
think of that.
I do remember him doing it, but it didn't. Just went right on over.
Pat tells us when Probst hits him with the "how do you feel after losing" question, that it's just sickening. The rain was a morale bummer, but they had bonded, and now they're going to lose an artery from the heart.
But they'll stay strong.
And Lyrsa tells us that she doesn't trust Nick. So Nick has got several targets. Pat and who else was it? Oh, Pat and Carl had already talked about they were looking at Nick as someone they could vote out.
However,
I thought that was good. I was like, yes, Lyrsa, you go after Nick. You be the one to target the first person voted out.
we had her going home.
Exactly, right? So if you start that, then sometimes it backfires and comes back on you. So I thought, at this point, I was thinking, this is good. Lyrsa's going to try to lead the charge to get rid of Nick.
You were already looking at that 2-point
I was.
bonus first off.
I didn't see it happening until she got that confessional, and then I thought, okay, the door's still open. There's a possibility.
Okay.
Cut to a boat.
Yeah, and I was already going.
Now
Why is
something's
there
wrong.
a boat?
Yeah.
Why is there a boat going in? What's going on
The
with the boat?
low
Is
point of the episode.
Jeff coming? What is it? Yeah. And then they show us. I mean, they come off of there with Pat.
You hear him say, I can't see.
Oh, I don't think I heard that. He can't see?
Yeah, I can't see, he said. Yeah.
Huh.
I can't focus.
Oh, well, can't focus, I get, but can't see.
Yeah, that's what
I really,
And then Gabby, the narrator of this season, at
Okay.
least in the first episode, tells us that while they were in the boat returning from the challenge, they hit a wave. She heard a crack, didn't realize at the time that it was actually Pat impacting some portion of the boat with that large crack sound. And
Or maybe it was his back.
Evidently, has hurt his back really bad. And Probst shows up, and you can see they've already run a line on Pat, so you got to be thinking Pat's not going to
I
get to
didn't for a
stay.
second think he was going to
Yeah.
stay.
But Probst is there to tell us this is severe.
Not when they'd already started the IV and
I like Pat, though. He's
pain
fighting.
medicine.
He didn't respond to Probst until then, and then Pat says, you can't take me. I can't leave. But Dr. Joe's not having it. He said there's no way.
Yep, there could be some kind of fracture, and we can't risk it.
If Pat would have been, if he was breathing okay, or if he would have looked at Probst when Probst, said that, then I would have thought there might have been a little hope. That seemed like they were trying to give him an opportunity.
Yep, can't leave Jeff.
Yeah, but no, time to get Pat to the chopper.
Well, and we were already debating, is the weather good enough? They're going to have to get a chopper in there. They can't put him out and back on a boat.
Could you imagine how bad it would be for Pat to have to get back on a boat right then? Yeah, although
awful.
Probably to go somewhere else, they might have had to do that, but yeah.
I hope not. Hope they took him right
Jessica tells us that she was a little suspect at first, but she's so grateful that they had Pat there to help him out. And Gabby said that she had misjudged him completely, and she's bummed because they lost a leader.
Well, and Jessica's crying too. You know, everybody's... that is stressful, especially when you start to get attached to people. And they did seem to bond a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I would have been interested to see what would have happened. You know, had they at least got to have the conversations, say that had happened while they were on their way to tribal council. And we had gotten to see who they were planning to vote out. Mm-hmm. Would have been interesting to kind of get a better lay of the land.
That's us being selfish, though.
I know it.
Yep, so Probst comes around to have a little talk with them, more feelings to be shared. And Gabby, again, on the spot with the narrator. Pat would have wanted us to stick together and do good. Let's win this for Pat.
And succeed. Mm-hmm. And at least the chopper's coming. We were like, oh, thank goodness. And
Elizabeth tells us that they're going to keep fighting.
Yep, and they're not having tribal council. The good news is you don't have to go to tribal council, and you got Flint back at camp.
Yep.
Even though they ate that octopus raw.
Yeah, I wonder if there was a little ceviche.
Out of it or something.
So is that right? Ceviche?
Yeah, I think so.
Action there. You need some lime, right? Some lime or lemon for that acid to do its thing.
Maybe, but I didn't see them doing that.
Yeah.
They might have just, cut it up, made
Went for it, yeah.
So I'm sure they've told them what's safe to do that way and what isn't. So, but I was surprised they did it that early on. Mm-hmm. I thought, well, it was probably good.
I'm sure they worked up an appetite working that hard on that shelter.
Yeah. And you can eat a lot of things you didn't think you could or would if you hadn't been if you've been without food for a few days.
Right.
But
well, what did you think overall?
I enjoyed it. It's Survivor.
It was fantastic until the end. It's just like a huge bummer.
That was disappointing, but it happens. We never like it when...
I didn't have Pat making the merge, so I guess I got that part right, but I definitely did not want Pat to go out like this.
I thought they'd keep him around just to try to keep John in check. Because, but Davie's pretty big too, I guess. But I didn't have him making the merge. But anyway, I hated it that way for Pat. But, if he kept being bossy, then he might have gone before the merge anyway. We'll never know now.
Right. Well, they did tell us at the end, skipping ahead a little, that he made a full recovery. So
yes, that was the good news.
Yeah.
He's okay. Hopefully no permanent damage at all.
So who would you say you misjudged the most?
Tan.
Oh, I was thinking maybe saw him negative, but it's positive. But yeah, you're right. You saw him as a positive, but it's shaping up. Dan's trending for a negative.
Well, it's just the whole showmance thing. Come on.
Knucklehead.
Everybody knows you don't do that.
From Super Dan to Stupor Dan.
So I don't know that he's really there to win. That's not a winning move right out the gate.
Dan's going to get wrecked. He's not there to win.
Man, he just rushed to the end.
Sealed his fate.
I can't get past that right now, so I guess that would be my answer.
Uh-huh.
Though, like I said, I had already gotten an inkling because I had completely discounted Alison. And yet, when I was listening to more of the videos and doing a little more research, I'd already thought, oh, no, I think she's going to go deep and be a big part of the season. I think she's... And I didn't feel that way enough to even consider choosing her for the winner because I still... just didn't feel that or want her to be the winner. And but I did consider Angelina a lot and almost went with her. But I just really thought, but I think Dan will be more fun to cheer for. And that's why I'm reacting so much.
Yeah.
That's not fun to watch you self-destruct.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he will. Maybe this will calm down, or maybe, hopefully, one of them will get switched quickly within the next couple of weeks.
Cara will get bored and she'll move on.
That would be good too. But
That won't help though. You learned everything you need to know about Stupor Dan. Yeah. The only way he makes it now is if someone carries him.
Well, he'd probably flip over to Natalie then or something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have a crush. Maybe it's just that because he was overweight before, he didn't feel he was as popular or as sexy and that he's really back in his teenage self where he's like, wow, all these beautiful women.
So I'm gonna go with mine. Most surprised, was on the David tribe, and I think it's Davie. I ended up liking Davie a whole lot more. I didn't think I was going to like him at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was big, superficial, but he came off really well in the first episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I didn't realize Nick was going to come off so horrible right out of the gate too. So, and Gabby, just everyone who said, hey, there's Aubrey, your narrator of the season. Yeah. Well, man.
Well, I kind of wish I'd gone with Gabby. Gabby. Abby, Gabby. With Gabby.
That's good. I like that. Yeah.
I kind of wished I'd gone. She was in my final four, but I thought, I don't think she could, because her tribe, there's so many. I don't know that a David can get there, because I thought they were but guess I could be wrong, and probably.
Well, if she stays true to the Aubrey archetype, really she won't get there.
Yes, that's true. But I really hope not to see Elizabeth without her pants on again, because that just bothered me with the socks and the hat.
Yep.
It just seemed weird.
Yep.
Usually you're used to seeing them in their underwear. It's no big deal.
Yep.
And she probably would have, she'd taken the hat off and the socks off and been in her bra and panties, it would have been okay.
Add the waddle, too. So,
it was just, I don't know. It it felt like, oh, I'm seeing something I shouldn't. She's undressing.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't look. I don't know. That was just weird. It just struck me odd. But then I'm not a cowboy hat person, so what do I know?
I didn't expect a lot out of Christian, but I didn't expect him to be mugging for the camera like he's doing either.
No, but he's actually doing some better than I thought he would.
Yeah, okay.
Because I didn't give him I really thought he was going to be socially extremely awkward.
Yeah.
And he may yet be more awkward than we've seen.
I don't know that he's not. You get the way he's over gesticulating, and the way he was mugging after he caught the map there. I thought, oh man, that's awkward. Tone it down. You make me uncomfortable having to watch you do this.
Oh, you do get uncomfortable when you think people are embarrassing themselves.
Yeah.
You've changed the channel because you couldn't stand watching something. You're like, no, I can't handle it. I'm embarrassed for the person.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from, but
you don't handle that well. You never have.
Agreed. So watching him makes me uncomfortable.
Makes you cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
You're wringing your hands right now talking about it.
Yep.
So, but overall, of course, Survivor's back. I enjoyed it very much. Even though I hate to see anybody leave for a medical evac.
Yeah, I'm sure Pat will get another chance to play down the road, and they'll bring him back.
Nobody gets points when people are medically evac'd, and there's no actual.
We'll get to JSFL shortly.
Well,
yep. How about next time on Survivor?
Next time on.
Probst tells us there's a new war brewing. I don't know if it's a new war.
Yeah. Doesn't feel very new to me.
Yeah, Natalie's getting ready to drop some Natalie napalm, she tells us.
Yeah.
And Lyrsa's
new war.
Elizabeth tells Lyrsa that she's being targeted, so Lyrsa fires up the lasers. You got your Natalie napalm and your Lyrsa lasers. It's going to be rough go at it, but...
Well, at least Elizabeth did tell her she heard her name.
She's loyal, don't you know?
That's right.
And Christian tells us he's your guy to help sort things out.
And, yeah. Christian's the man in charge. Why does that
It's frenetic
sound so frightening?
personality. Yeah, just no.
That's frightening.
Nope. It's like, Christian, here's your lab. Go do some great work. But
Yep.
yeah, not in charge. Not your thing, bud.
Yeah.
But it should be fun and entertaining to watch, if not awkward and uncomfortable. So, yeah, his frenetic personality is not suited to leadership, no matter what he says.
All right.
Anything else on next time on Survivor?
I don't believe so. It
So
was
who's
pretty
going?
short and sweet. Who's going next time?
I waffled back and forth on my JSFL pick. Should I go with Natalie going, or should I go with Lyrsa? Lyrsa,
Yeah, in my
Natalie,
mind, that
Lyrsa.
was it. It was
Yeah.
either Lyrsa or
It's like,
Natalie.
which tribe's going to win? Okay, I'm going to go with the Goliaths winning. Natalie's
were-
going to be okay. But, yeah.
But I did not put her safe. I thought I went a little bold, as you would say, because I put Mike safe, and I put
Elizabeth?
I put Elizabeth safe.
That was bold. I agree. It wasn't bold.
Yeah, one like put Natalie safe, but like I said, that's not bold. That was just stupid
Okay.
to put Natalie safe, in my opinion.
She did not surprise us.
I would have felt
She
stupid
delivered
had I done
exactly as we expected
Yeah,
and
she
alienated
did.
her tribe.
that. She did.
And Probst is telling us to expect more of that with next time on Survivor.
Yeah,
The big
basically.
question that you have to decide
Who's
is,
going to win?
yeah, exactly. Will
I
it
still
matter?
think Lyrsa's in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
and and obviously Natalie is still in trouble. I can't imagine anything that could save her unless somebody really upset people way more, and they decided to get rid of them first. So as long as everybody just chills, she's out of there.
Yeah.
So if I were Mike and the other people, I'd just kind of sit back and keep my mouth shut.
Mike's in a better position than we thought he might be because everyone went idol hunting.
Yeah, well, I thought that he was going to be entertaining enough because I like him as a person. I think he's a funny guy, and again, I think he's going to entertain them a little bit, and that people will enjoy having him around. If they don't have to go to tribal council too soon, he could get a foot in alliances, and especially if he stays in long enough for a shakeup.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to hold on to the people they know versus the people they don't. Then he could go deeper. And I
Yeah.
kind of would like to see that, but we'll see. I'd like to see what he can do.
Yeah, he'll be aware enough to take advantage of swing vote opportunities, things like that.
Absolutely. He is
Seems
a fan,
good.
and I do
So
like that.
I got to think that the person that Elizabeth is telling Lyrsa about is Nick. Since this week we got Lyrsa talking about how she was targeting Nick, it would only seem right that
Yeah.
Nick's probably turned that back onto her.
Well, and the question is, did Elizabeth tell Nick, because she got alliance with him, that Lyrsa wanted him? And
Yeah.
that's why he brought her in.
Yeah.
Elizabeth could be working on both,
Yeah,
too.
she could
just
be
keep
double
target
dealing.
off her.
Yep.
So let's not discount that.
Right.
She might have game.
At least to get her to put those two in front of her, that's certainly smart. Yeah.
I put everybody in front of me I could. So, but they lost their big guy. But like I said, Davie might can go up against John. He seems pretty big and tough too. So, but I thought if they do one of those, one-on-one things with the knocking somebody off into the water,
the sumo challenge.
yeah, then they need somebody to go up against John for that, or it's just
Or not.
like forget it.
Or you just write
Put
it off.
Jessica up there and
Yeah, exactly. Just
be
have her
done with it.
turn and run.
Yeah.
Or let him slowly push her off gently.
or put Christian and let him turn
Because
and run.
you can always flip the script on something like that.
Would be cuter. Okay, anything else?
Who do you think's going next week?
Like I said, either Lyrsa or
Yeah,
Natalie.
I'm going with Lyrsa again. So, had her this week. I think she's still in jeopardy there.
I have to ponder about the challenge if there's a commercial or something gives us any inkling, but you never know. But probably Lyrsa.
How about a JSFL update?
I can do that. There was 275 people who were tied for first place
It's the biggest tie
with
ever.
4
huh?
points.
But why is that?
That's because of the medical evacuation. There were no first off
Nobody was
points.
voted out.
Usually it's a 2 point. But nobody was voted out, therefore there were no points
No
awarded.
points. 0. The most you could get this week was 4.
Was 4 if you got all your safe picks correct. So, and a lot of people did, but not everyone. There's 401 people registered in JSFL, but there was only
That's not real, though.
333
There.
that actually got their picks in. Because it holds over from season. So for the first 3 weeks, there may be people that are on the register that aren't actually playing, but they will be dropped after the 3rd week of not making picks.
Yep.
But if you're registered and you missed your picks this week, you can still play.
Yeah, you're
You
at
just
a
won't
disadvantage.
have your USB 24, and yes, you have a few points less, but that doesn't mean you can't play or that you can't even win. Because most of us will lose our USB 24s before the merge anyway, and you get to choose another
You're going to be so happy when you do.
afterwards. And
You're
so
already eyeing your next choice, aren't you?
well, no, not necessarily. I still think he's a likable guy and he could go far. It's just I
better get off that
not
boat.
sure that he could win.
Yeah.
But
That's a goat boat. You got to move on.
okay, back to JSFL. We had 16 people who chose Pat to be voted off. However, you still got no points.
Goose egg for you. Sorry.
Yep,
Medevac.
and there were 58 people, however, who lost a safe point because he was no longer in the game. He wasn't safe, and that's the way it works. So, sorry, people. And
Not
there
voted
were
out, but also not
2
safe.
people who lost their USB.
Oh, 2. There we go.
2.
First casualties of JSFL.
Okay, as far as the side challenge,
We're pretty
the
much
people
all.
with 4 points and who are playing this season: Jeremiah, Jonathan, Parker, Rodney and Stacy, Brandon, Cole, Mike, Iron Dave, and Jay Kindred. And then with 3 points, Drew.
Had Pat safe.
And with 0 points, James and Shannon, because they didn't get their picks in.
Oh,
Sorry.
my goodness.
In
oh, my
time.
goodness.
And so, but that doesn't mean, again, that you can't play or even win. That's just the way it works. So you can catch up.
Still there. You're
Go
just starting
guys.
in a 4-point hole.
Yes. Okay.
For you, now it's all about the finale.
Okay, I'm going to a little update on how many people chose that are playing. Chose for
Who
their
did they choose to win
USB.
it all? Yeah.
Dan, 61 people chose Dan along with me, the most chosen.
Uh-huh.
And maybe
Showman's
not
Dan.
everybody's groaning as much as me. But. Okay, with 37 people chose Nick to win. 35 people chose Gabby. I'm feeling good about those 35. Alison, there's 34 people that chose her.
Yep,
John's
solid.
got 28. Then there's Carl with 23. B with 18. And Jeremy with 18 as well. Natalia has 16. Angelina 14. Elizabeth 9. Alec has 7. And Christian has 7. And Natalie has 6. Jessica has 3,
Wow,
along with
Natalie's
Mike.
got more than Pat. I'm really surprised at that.
Yeah. Jessica and Mike both have 3. Lyrsa has 2, along with Davie, Pat, and Kara.
Okay.
Actually, I wasn't cheering for Kara a lot because of, the confidentiality thing and all that. But I did think she has game, and I still do.
Okay.
But I think she might do well.
Like my boy John there, he's sort of kind of hovering in the middle, maybe just a little above the middle. That's where the winners come from. Mm-hmm. And he ain't talking
The
showmance.
gospel according to Stacy. Well,
You got
that's
it.
true. You got me there.
He didn't. He said he came to win. Dan
Dan's
came for a
charming,
showmance.
though. He is charming. He seems like a good guy.
Bless his heart.
Oh, Dan.
Oh man.
Dan. You thought he was married, so you were shocked.
Yeah, I thought, what is he
I thought he
doing?
was married. He's got kids, and him. Doesn't mean he's married. I don't
Right.
think he's married, honey.
Yep.
So he's single. He can like the girls if he wants.
So I thought even less of him there for a moment.
It's like, no, he's not married.
Let's hope not. Yeah. Anything else you want to add about JSFL?
I don't think so. I'm just interested to hear what everybody else thought about it.
Exactly. So we did the recap, got all the big broad strokes, the recapping. Couldn't come up with another word, so I just repeated it.
Baby?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess so. Long day. So now we're interested in your thoughts. Who's most different than you expected? Who's what you expected? Who'd you have the biggest reaction to? Who do you think's going to go next? Who's going to be in charge? All that good stuff. What did you think about the first episode? Are you excited? Are you, well, what are you? How's that? Leave it open-ended. So the voicemail line, 206-350-1547. That's the easiest way to get in. There's a toll-free version, 844-643-8737. And I did check. It is working, Mike. I'm not sure what happened to you last week, but it is working right now. So that's the easiest way to get in and share your audio feedback. You can record your own and send it in to joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Or you can write it up if you're not comfortable with your voice on the show yet. That's cool. Joanne or I will read whatever you send us in. Well, not whatever you send, but we'll read your feedback into the show as long as it passes muster for us.
We need your rap pretty quick. I think you're losing. Just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who has the worst picture on the roster?
Pat,
Why is that? He's the only one.
we went over this in the Jabbit.
We did?
Yep.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, grump face. All right, so let's get back. We gotta
We're
make sure they
wrapping.
know.
We're wrapping.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whether you write it or whether you call in or record it yourself, keep it under the 3-minute mark so we can get everybody in. And we look forward to hearing your thoughts on this first episode. Anything else you want to add?
No, other than if you're not registered for JSFL, it is closed for the season.
Yeah.
Nobody who isn't already, if you were registered last season, then you should still be, if you were playing at the end of the season, you should still be on there, whether you got your picks in or not, so you could still play. But if you have not registered, you would not be allowed to register. The side challenge is closed until next season.
Yeah. No more new players, but if you are registered, you can still play.
Absolutely.
And one other note, I had to migrate the website, so the website looks different now. If you do go there, it might be a little confusing. So there's like just the first top blurb of the show notes that show, and there's a little read more. You click on the read more, and you can see everything, who's saying what when, and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Links, interesting links that we might include with an episode. It's all still there.
That was a surprise for Stacy at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
You had to change all that over as well. So.
Quite the little roller coaster ride. Yep. Okay. So, yeah, expect it to look visually a little different, and I may still tweak that a little bit as I learn more about what's possible with that interface. But for the most part, it'll still be there. You can click and listen to the episode right there if you want to. That kind of thing.
All right, business done. I have to go watch Big Brother finale.
That show's a dumpster fire.
Wash your mouth out.
But this show is exciting. We look forward to hearing what you have to say about Survivor Season 37, the first episode of David versus Goliath.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good one.